Hey guys, welcome back. Let's go over the study guide. So, this study guide is all about Unit 2B, which is mostly about inequalities. Our last test was all about equations where we had equal signs. This one's about inequalities, so we're dealing with things that aren't equal. So we have inequality signs. Let's go ahead and answer question number 1 because that's about the inequality signs we have to deal with. So looking at number 1, what do the following signs mean? So this first one is a less than sign. And it's important that we can recognize these and read them, all right? This one over here is a greater than sign. And kids always mix these up. It's easy to kind of get them confused because they look so similar. The way I always remember it is I always think of this one, the less than symbol. This is it. And in my head, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this too, it kind of looks like a lazy L, like a sideways L. I could even write the word less inside it, all right? So the one that looks kind of like an L is for less than, L for less than. Let's look at the next one. This one is less than or equal to. It has that line underneath, which is literally half of an equal sign. So less than or equal to. And this one is, of course, greater than or equal to. So let's look down below. Please graph the inequalities below. Add the numbers that you need underneath the blank number line. So whenever I'm looking at these, I have x is greater than 3. So on my number line, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. As long as you have a 3 on your number line, you're good to go. So I could have the 3 in the middle and then 1, 2, 4, and 5 surrounding it. Or I could have 3 down here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whatever way is fine, as long as you have a 3 on there, okay? I'm just going to put 3 in the middle. I'll put 2 and 1 over here, 4 and 5 over here. And then I need to go and find my 3. Now, whenever we graph, we can either have an open circle or a closed circle. When we have an open circle, that is when we're talking about less than or greater than. When we're talking about a closed circle, that's when we have the equal to included in it. All right? So this one does not have an equal to, so I'm only going to have an open circle. Go find your 3. Now, x is all the numbers that are greater than 3. So all my numbers that are greater than 3 are on this side of the number line. So I'm going to draw an arrow pointing to the right because that's where all my numbers that could possibly work for x are. Back when we were doing equations, we had things like x equals 3. That means that x has one possible solution, and it's 3. It can't be anything else. Now, because we're dealing with inequalities, x could actually be any number that is greater than 3. So it's an infinite amount of numbers. So we have to show this on a number line to represent that. And I have my arrows on the end. Okay, that's really important. Look at the next one. Y is less than or equal to negative 7. So I'm going to go and fill in some numbers down here. I need a negative 7. Again, you can put it wherever you want. I'll just put it over here. And then I'm going to go and fill in my number line. Now, this always mixes up kids and gets them confused whenever we're talking about negatives. So normally, if these were positives, I'd have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But because it's negatives, it's actually going the other way. So negative 8 is over here. Negative 6 is right here. Negative 5 and negative 4. That's how we do a number line on the negative side. So when I go through this, I'm going to go find my negative 7. I'm going to close the circle because that's saying that negative 7 is a possible solution here. If I had negative 7 in for y, that would be true because negative 7 is less than or equal to negative 7. It has that equal to with it, all right? So that closed circle shows me that negative 7 is a possible solution. This says y is less than negative 7. All my numbers less than are going to the left. So I'm going to draw my arrow pointing to the left. So the next one, 8 is greater than or equal to k. Now, you can leave it just like this and graph it, but kids have a tendency to mess this up when the variable is on the right side of the inequality sign. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to rewrite it, k, 8, and I'm going to make sure that I have to flip the sign so that I make sure the 8 is the larger number here. I still need it to be the larger number here, all right? So I'm going to go and fill in my number line. I'm going to put 8 over here. Again, it doesn't matter as long as you have an 8 on there. I'll go fill in the numbers above it and below it. And I'm going to go find my 8. I'm going to close the circle because it has an equal to sign with it. And k is less than or equal to 8. So all my numbers that are less than are going this way. All right. When kids try and do it like this, 8 is greater than k, they find the 8. They close the circle. That's usually done well. But then they immediately see a greater than sign right here. So they try and draw the arrow going to the right. But that is not correct. All right. Let's look at the next one. Negative 10 is less than v. I'm going to rewrite it and I'm going to put the v on the left, the negative 10 on the right, and then when I do that, I have to flip the sign, all right? If v is larger in the original, it still needs to be the larger side of this inequality when I flip it around, all right? So let's go and find those numbers. I'll add negative 10 in the center. Again, it doesn't matter. I'll go fill in the numbers above and below it, and that's a negative 9. Whoops, there we go. Go find your negative 10. I'm going to leave the circle open because there's no equal to with it. And then I'm going to find v is all the numbers that are greater than negative 10. All my numbers that are greater than negative 10 are going this way. All right, let's look at number 3. Please explain in words what the following inequality means. X is less than or equal to negative 3. What this means is that x, which is an unknown number, x can be any number that is less than or equal to negative 3. So x in this case could be negative 10. It could be negative 20. It could also be negative 3 because I have that equal to with it. It could be negative 4. It could be an infinite amount of numbers as long as it is smaller than or equal to negative 3. The next one, which of the following are answers to the following solution set? 0 is greater than y. So what this means is that I'm trying to find out what are possible values of y, and the ones that I've listed down here below, that could work for y. 0 is greater than y, or if you flipped it around, that's the same thing as y is less than 0. Notice how I flipped the sign, but I put the variable on the left side. So now I'm looking for any number that is less than 0. Any number that's less than is going to work here. So in case you can't think about this in your head, and honestly, it might be a good idea not to try and do that because sometimes it's easy to make mistakes when you try and do it in your head. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and replace all these numbers and substitute them in for y. So this one I'm going to say negative 8 for y is less than 0. Negative 8 is less than 0. Is that true? Yeah, it is. Negative 8 is less than 0. 15. 15 is less than 0. I just substituted the 15 in for y. Is 15 less than 0? No, that's not true. 15 is larger. This one, 3 is less than 0. Is that true? No, it's not. 3 is larger than 0. That's not true. This one, negative 6 is less than 0. Is that true? Yes, it is true. Negative 100 is less than 0. Is that true? Yeah, it is. Again, these take a second to think about. Don't try and rush them. These should be kind of like the simpler ones because these are basically just comparing integers, which we did the first week of school. So take your time, all right? Let's look at the next one. 9 is less than 0. Is that true? No, 9 is larger than 0. 9 is greater than 0. The next one, 0 is less than 0. Is that true? No, 0 is equal to 0, not less than. And the last one, negative 22 is less than 0. Is that true? Negative 22 is less than 0. Yes, it is. That is true. All right. Let's look at the next one. Write 3 answers for the following solution sets. So x is greater than or equal to 6. So any number that is greater than or equal to 6 works here. So 6, that works here. 10, that works here. 22, that works here. Any number that's greater than or equal to 6 is a possible solution. The next one, y is less than or equal to negative 2. So I'm looking for any number that could be substituted in for y that is less than or equal to negative 2. Once again, negative 2, that works. A number that's less than negative 2, negative 5, negative 8. Any number that's less than or equal to negative 2 works. This one, it might be a good idea to flip around your signs. So I would have a is less than or equal to 5. Sometimes it's easier to think about it in these terms, all right? So I need a number for a that is less than or equal to 5. Let's see, I have 5. That works because it's equal to. I have 0. That works. I have negative 12. That works. Any number that's less than or equal to 5 works there. This one, same thing. I'm going to flip it around. X, negative 10. I'm going to flip my sign. If negative 10 was the larger one originally, it should still be the larger one when I flip it. So now, once again, I need a number that is less than or equal to negative 10. Negative 10, that works. Negative 27, negative 50, an infinite amount of numbers. Anything that's less than is just fine there. Let's scroll down. Let me erase this. we're going to scroll down to the next ones. Number 6. Let's go to number 6. Now these say, please solve and graph the inequalities below. So whenever I solve them, it's the same steps as equations. I have to eliminate whatever is with the variable so that the variable can be by itself. We have to isolate the variable. Here, I have 4 with that x. The way we do it, just like with the equations, I have to eliminate that 4. If 4 is being multiplied by x right there, I'm going to eliminate that by dividing by 4. So that reduces down to a 1, which is exactly what I want. I'll divide by 4 on this side as well. So I'm left with x is less than 4. That's my final inequality. X is less than 4. So now let's go graph it. I need to go and fill in some numbers down here. Again, it doesn't matter as long as you have a 4 in one of these numbers. I'll put it here, and then I'll fill in the numbers above and below it. So go find your 4. The circle stays open because I have that less than sign originally. And x is any number that is less than 4. So all my numbers that are less than 4 are going this way. So if you thought when we were doing equations that stuff was kind of over, it's not even a little bit. This is the same exact steps I would have used to do an equation, except now I don't have an equal sign. I have an inequality sign. All we're doing over and over and over and over again is the inverse operation. All right? I had 4 times x. In order to get rid of that 4, I had to divide both sides by 4. All right? It's the same steps, except now we have an inequality sign, and then we have to graph it as well. So I think that's going to be it for this first part of this video. I will see you guys in the next part. All right?